Morning, folks. I'm starting early so you can hear this. Ooh. My chat's gone. Oh, my chat's back. Hello, everyone. Wanted you all to hear my printer. Oh, it's gone quiet again. It'll go loud again. Showtime! Yeah, I'm starting a bit early. Can you hear it now? No, it's just gone quiet. It was just so loud. It's going to be printing for 4 hours or more. I don't think there's ever going to be a time in the next while that there won't be printing. I think I said that last stream. But hello everybody. There are way too many people to say hi to scroll back now, I think. I have started a few minutes early. There's a pretty cool chat going on right now. But yeah, you'll hear it pick up. It's gonna go loud. I'm just gonna scroll back quickly and say hi to people if I can. Electron Ash, hello. Michael, hello. Embedded Hobbyist. Azzy. Who else? Alan, yes, we'll said hi to Alan. Julian, hello. Bobby Royster. Amos is here. Ooh, scrollies. Yuri was here. I think Yuri's gone to sleep. Oh well. Sleep well, Yuri. Sweet dreams. Chris Markenteer Tech, hello. Andy Kellaway is here. CG Aces, hello. Teletronics, Michael is here. Paul, the Count, is here. Hey, Jamie McKenzie. James Robinson. Stephen Mott. Mr. Dave Darko. Death Shaker. DC Allen. And hello, Roger. Cool. Hey, Tim. Yes. That's going to be annoying. But once it gets past the first 6 or so layers, it'll be fine. So I sold out of Refloat Masters again overnight, and I've got a whole bunch of cases to print. And the cases take 4.5 hours each, so I just needed to start printing. So I started it early this morning. Hey, Stephen. So yes, it's going to be a little bit noisy today. I've got a backlog of stuff to print. I almost need a second printer, but I'm not going to get a second printer because that is just extravagant. Hey, Gerald. Hey, Crazy Boy 2006 Cashier. I'm good. I'm tired, but I'm good. I think I'm going to be I was speaking to Yaz yesterday. I'm going to be in a perpetual state of tiredness for the next while. There's a lot happening. There's some news coming. Get a faster printer. I would love a faster printer. Someone needs to invent a faster printer. It just hasn't happened yet. The Prusa i3 is probably one of the fastest out there. They've really ramped up their they really tweaked it you can hear how fast it is. But I just don't think they can do faster printing right now. I have 2 Zortrax M200s for a while. Yeah, I mean, the problem is there are periods of time when my 3D printer sits there idle. So, right, and I feel guilty when I see any of my tools sitting here idle. So having 2 of them idle, that's a real extravagance. But right now I'm just printing pretty much, well, not 24/7 because obviously there are periods of time when it finishes and I'm asleep or I'm out or whatever. But I'm pretty much got the printer running all the time, going through a lot of filament, a lot of stuff to prepare. Is that glass double-walled or just very thick? Which glass are we talking about? Outside? This one here? Not. You're talking about. Well, that back one's got a blind down. So that's no. You won't see through that one. But no, they're not double. You'll see light coming in. Although, looks like my camera's shifted. Hang on, let me just. So this one here, that's not double glazed. It's black outside. It's It's 6:20 in the morning. Like, what do you expect? Yeah, it's going to shift me back. Sorry for that shifting. I don't know where I was. Anyway. Hey Mike, how you doing? Just go to sleep and be ready for my final exams tomorrow. You should go to sleep if you have final exams tomorrow. Go to sleep. Hey John. I'm literally installing Clipper right now. What is Clipper? I don't know what Clipper is. John, did your campaign start? Is it starting today, tomorrow? I don't know what time zone. I'm assuming you're in the States. It's my Wednesday. It's your... When did we chat on my stream? Anyway, is it launched? Because if it is, do a plug. Or do a plug anyway. We're going to do a plug anyway. So, everybody, meet John de Glavina. I'm sorry if I pronounced it right. It did, right now. Awesome. So John just launched a crowd supply campaign right now, right this second. I'm going to go find it. Hold on one second. Crowd supply. John is running for president. Oh, and it's already 19% funded. I'm switching. I'll show you desktop. Here we go. It's this one. Split single phase energy meter. I will post the link. So it literally just launched. And 19% funded. That is wicked. So I assume as a split phase energy meter you can monitor multiple affordable remote energy monitoring for your entire home. There we go. Running off an ESP32. Nice. Yes, yeah. I mean, John, you can appreciate how hard it is ramping up to launch a campaign. It is just mind-boggling, and I've got so many pieces of mine. I've even got Yaz working now to packing things and sorting things, and it's going to ramp up to... Was that on Hextrio? Hey, Crazy Roops! If I've missed anyone coming in, hello, Rando Hin. I apologise if I've missed anyone. HMX. I'm just going to scroll back a bit. I must have missed people. Shapemaker 2 just launched. Yeah, always the whole idea of a 2-in-1 or a 3-in-1 printer. Like, I get they're all CNC, but yeah, I don't know. Anyway. Ooh. Yeah, why are we congratulating Julian? Oh, it says Sion's live. Yeah, it's got a notification. I was asking whether your tea... Oh, my tea mug was double-walled. Well, you didn't specify. Yes, it's double-walled. I'm just going to switch back now. That is double-walled, yes. That's why it stays hot for so long. Sorry. Thanks for that behind-the-scenes look at a crowd supply. I haven't really done it behind the scenes. I can't... Actually, I don't even know if I'm allowed to. I don't know what the terms and conditions are. I mean, so the crowd supply folks are great. They're fantastic to work with. It's very much more hands-on than what, a Kickstarter campaign is. And yeah, it's really been a fantastic experience. I've said a couple of times that I'm not overly happy with the way they do their shipping and their pricing, but that's okay. That's the terms for working with their platform. But they know their platform best. They know their customers best. They obviously wouldn't be doing things the way they do them if it didn't work. It's just, yeah, a bit weird for me. But overall, though, fantastic experience. Oh, they did your video for you? That's really cool. Hey, Graham. Yeah, I found out after I was doing my video that they help with stuff like that as well. I mean, they do everything. They take photography. They'll, like, I haven't done all of my photography. I think they're going to do some of them. They got all the stuff. Their package got delivered yesterday with everything in it. Well, at least one of everything. Fully packaged up with all the nice branding and stuff. And they're going to, they'll enhance the page and do that. No, they say that the market is 50-50, that they do 50% US and 50% outside the US. I would assume Europe would be the biggest outside the US stuff. Yeah, that's really cool that they did all that stuff for you. Yeah, they're really hands-on. And, you know, they go through all of your copy and give feedback and stuff, so... You don't have a source for reliable Chinese USB to serial modules. Once I just broke. Oh no. Does it have to be for reliable Chinese ones? Why not get reliable, good ones, like Pololu ones or something? Can everyone hear that racket? It won't be for much longer. Yeah, Windows. Gotta love Windows. I'm a Mac user. Oh, hey, pile of stuff. Yeah, it's definitely a Windows problem, but that's, you know, it's not like he can ring up Microsoft and say, hey, Microsoft, can you fix your operating system so it stops bricking my my USB serial devices? So, okay, I'm going to really regret doing this stream. What I'm planning. I've got some stuff here, but before I do this, let's lighten this up a bit. The reflection on the that doesn't help. Whiz. Yeah, it's once it gets. Oh, it's only at 0.8 layer height. Okay, it's going to make a few noises still. Anyway, so before I get onto this, I'm just going to move this off for a second. I'll show you something I did. I posted this on my Instagram. Oh, it's a bit small. Let me just zoom in. Let me just straighten this. That doesn't seem very straight. And for those that don't like the circle on the side, well, I'll move it later maybe. So I was thinking about those Pololu things in. Well, yeah. Just be careful if you get the clones of the Pololu, however you say it. Most of the clones are okay. I bought one of their programmers from them. It was obviously more expensive than a Chinese one, and it's just been fantastic and reliable, really good. So, obviously, I'm probably going to build play shields today. I don't know. We might put it to a vote and see what I build on my stream today. Hey, Andy. Good afternoon. Nice to see the family. Thanks, Andy. Yes, it's always a nice treat for me when my family come on the stream. Ellen is back. I didn't know you'd gone. So yeah, that was a nice surprise. Yeah. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. So one of the challenges with building the play shield is getting this. Why does it seem so dark in here? Much darker than normal. Anyway, one of the challenges is getting this front OLED on straight. There is nothing worse than seeing a crooked OLED, and it's a real challenge. Like, doing the hole, holding it still, soldering one pin, straightening it, soldering it like this. It's very time consuming. So I designed a jig, and I posted this on Instagram and on Twitter the other day, although this is a slightly revised version, and something went funky on the print at the very top. Can you see here? So those standoffs are really thin. It doesn't matter if they break off though, because I've got enough height there. Hey Stephen, Chunky Steve-O's in the house. Whoa! Wow, a screwdriver with blocks are such a pain. Okay. Oh, hey Tinker Dad. Why are you in a hotel, by the way? I saw your tweet. Have you all been at different maker fairs and events and stuff? Have you? Anyway, so I designed this jig where I can put the screen in, put it on, and then it sits exactly, like it's really tight. It's got like less than, like, I don't know, how much wobble is that? Like 0.2 or 0.3 of a degree of wobble. So, and then it fits into the holes so I can solder without having to go back and forth all the time. So I'm going to put that to the test today as well. I've got a few of these already made up but without screens on them. But yes, I want to build. I need to build stuff. I've got a backlog of stuff I need to build, and so I thought, Scilabs all the way, CP2104. The problem with FTDI chips is that they're expensive. They're really cool. There have been some driver issues on the Mac though with them, but yeah, they're just expensive. You can't buy clones of them, and you can't really get them easily from China or at all. I like the Scilab stuff. I use the CP2104, and I'll eventually move to the O2N at some point. They're just more expensive. They're smaller, a little bit smaller, but they're about $1 each more expensive. Driver issues on them? No, there was driver issues at one point, but I've never experienced them. I think back in 2016 and 17, maybe around that era, there was some driver issues. If you look online with FTDI. So I need to build some stuff, and I'm going to build some panels of stuff, and I'm going to try to do it live. But it's got to be something that I don't need my microscope for. So it can't be tiny picos. But all of my shields are 0603 and above. All the passives are 0603. So I'm going to try to do those without my microscope, under camera, maybe with a magnifying glass. So what would you like me to build? My plan was I was going to build 1 or 2 panels of my play shields. But I can build any of my shields. So does anyone have a preference before I get started? It's gone quiet. Hey James, what are the options? Well, anything. I mean, I've got my... What are the options? I can build... Where's that box gone? It depends if you want to see me building, like hand soldering a lot, or surface mount placement, stenciling a lot. I mean, I can build a whole bunch of these, but they're just all hand soldering. So, yeah, not overly exciting. I can build panels of RTC modules. I can build panels of Grove connectors, but they're, again, apart from a couple of components, they are mostly through-hole. I can build panels of my speaker module. I just need to build. I need to build stuff. Like, they all have to be built. Oh, what did I find in here? Caps. Nice. So those are all my play shields. So, yeah. Julian votes for through-hole. Yeah, that's just really not exciting. RTC. What? Listening to the printer. Yeah, it goes quiet and loud and quiet and loud. Depends what it's doing. I wonder if there are RTC chips still in the wild that have the Millennium Bug. The RTC looks... Don't be saving anything. That Diddy battery holder. That is a little Diddy battery holder. Yes, it is. I might check their drives don't work. Only if it runs Crisis. Yeah, I'm sorry. There's no Crisis on there. Wow, so we have a mix of responses once again. Hey, J-Man. Oh, hello, S. Schley. Show the different panels. Oh, that's going to be harder. RTC, please. We got lots of RTCs. Okay, so the problem with the RTCs, as you'll see in a moment, is the number of them per panel. Build a robot to do it. Hey, Peter, well, or buy a pick and place. Yes, is what I... Okay, Dave Duck wants me to do them all. I am Tim. You are Tim. Hello, Tim. Why is that name familiar, though? Why is Why? Tim, why is your name familiar? I'm having a mental blank. Oh, hello, Colin. Call from 0050 on my works VoIP phone. What? No, I'm not trying to drop you a line. Train the crew to do it. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so you really want to look at the panels. Do we need to do it based on panel? Okay, so I'm gonna have to zoom out. Hey Carl. You got no. I mean, I think that I'm pretty organised here, and it is chaos. Okay, so that is the play shield are just 4 up. So that's a play shield. I know. I think Stephen wants me to do the RTC, but let's have a look. These are audio shields. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 15 on a panel. RTC seemed the winner. Oh, come on, where are you? I seem to have lost my RTC shields. Where are my RTC shields? Hang on, I seem to have lost a bunch of panels. Somewhere. Hello, where are you? Of course it's dark in here and I can't see anything. Here we are. Okay. Now the problem with the RTCs are, look how many there are. Because they're smaller. So there are, was that 20? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 20 on there. So I have to build 20 of them. Hey Helmet, how you doing? Does your workshop not have lights? Yeah, I've got lights here. I don't want to turn my main lights on because they cast shadow everywhere. Like they're not the lights that don't work well for streaming or videos. Yeah, supposed to get work then, buddy. Okay, well, looks like we're doing RTC shields. Holy moly. Okay. Sure. Is that what we're doing? RTC? Hey, John. I did not expect that the answer would be RTC shields. Okay. Well, let me put some of this stuff away. Because they need to go back. Otherwise I'll never find them again. Like I almost didn't find my RTC shield. Dun, dun, dun. You want 21 of them. Well, maybe I'll build 2 panels. Squeak. Hey, Andy Mouse. Good choice for the pass dispenser. No, I don't use the pass dispenser for any of these. I do not have enough... not enough positions for all... Actually, no, that's not true. I do have positions for pretty much all of these parts, but the panel is not a good size for the parts machine. My manual parts dispenser wasn't designed to work on a panel size. As I'll show you. I mean, I probably could. It's just not overly... Yeah, it was designed to have boards in the middle, not a panel. That's okay. And a panel needs to be moved around a lot when you're working, and so, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to need to find... See, this was unexpected, because I don't even have my stencil set up for it. And I need to find all my parts for it. So I need my crystals and caps I've got, because it's got an external crystal on here. Good to see turntable action. No, I'm not going to do the, no, it won't be on the turntable. They're my battery holders. They're expensive, let me tell you. They were really hard to get. Finding very small battery holders that will fit within the width of the Tiny Pico board. I need to make a bigger one. I need to get a pick and place machine is what I need. Hey Scott. Unexpected making. Oh no, it's expected. My plan was to do this today. But I now need to... Okay, I'm going to have to build a stencil holder. Unless I can repurpose another one I've already got. But every panel is slightly different size. Tiny Pico Mega. What? What are we talking about? Okay, I need PCBs now. What shall I use? Okay, I've got some. I'll have to use some of my laser clock panels. I wasn't planning on having to set up a stencil today. It's fine. I'm happy to do it. Oh no, I need 1mm. Okay, that's going to be harder. No, I need 1mm thickness. These are 1mm boards. Can't use those. Any ETA on the Tiny Pico release? Yes, there is. There is news, but I can't say it today. All I can say is it's very close. Be quiet. Sorry. I'm gonna have to... See, I was not prepared for this at all. Hang on. I have to grab some old Tiny Pico boards. Okay. Now we know what old Tiny Pico panels are useful for. Assuming these are 1mm boards. They are. There we go. Is it the tiny femto? Unexpectedly. What? Just think that after today you have plenty of RTC shields and can spend more time on the other boards. Well, sure. I have a lot more than just one of those panels to build, unfortunately. But, so I just need to work out how I'm going to lay this out. Because, yeah, the panels are not... I'd rather they just always had 100 by 100 panels. It would be so much easier. See, that won't line up. Why is that board bent? Maybe this is bent. I don't know. Does the RTC chip have an interrupt alarm in it to wake up the Pico? To wake up the Pico? Well, it's got an interrupt alarm. It's got a multifunction pin, yes, which is connected to GPIO4. But GPIO4 is an RTC pin, and it can wake up the Tiny Pico, yes. Any of the RTC pins can wake up the Tiny Pico if you put it to sleep with the RTC on with the wake up wire pin. But yes it can. And the reason I chose this RTC chip, the MCP is 7940N, is because it's super low power. It's it goes under 1 microamp when it's not being powered from the microcontroller, and it's only 1.2 microamps when it is. So am I missing any chat? Hey Ian. Nothing like that reassuring printer nose to let you know you're alive. Yeah, I know. See, I'm just playing Tetris right now, working out how I'm gonna line these up. It's gonna have to be like that. Okay, I need... Just working out on the fly the usefulness of an RTC chip for a Wi-Fi friendly board. Oh, I wonder what that's for, Stephen. Yeah, like all of the good RTC chips have the ability to, have an alarm pin or something else. The issue with the DS 32, 31, whichever one it is that it's very hard to get that working in low power. and the standard low power is like 200 microamps, which is just too high. Hey Marco! It's for me 200 microamps is just you know, I spent so long getting Deep Sleep to be below 20 microamps on the Tiny Pico. The thought of someone sticking one of my shields on it and then it ruining Deep Sleep, yeah, I can't do that. So that's why I chose this RTC, which is harder to work with for me, like assembly wise, because it needs an external crystal and caps. So it's got, you know, it's more components, harder to build because of that. Harder as in longer to build. Oh, don't. I hope that wasn't at me about the revisions. Oh, the lights, the sun's coming in, so you can see through the window now. Yay. How's that? That's going to do just for a makeshift, assuming I can even, okay. The pressure's on. The pressure is on. Now you're going to get me to line this up live, are you? That is going to be nasty. Oh, look at that. First time. Got it first time. You know how long it's going to take me to place all these components, right? Wow. And you're going to get to see my bald head, my bald patch a lot. The sun's already up in New Zealand. You know, the sun's up now, outside. It's a lot easier to line with the gold pads, yes it is, for sure. My problem is I'm looking at it on a 45-degree angle. Makes it a bit harder to work with. Okay, so all that. Okay, I need something just under here. Now the focus goes. It's going to be a bit hard to focus on this. I just need one more PCB under here to stop it from bending. Let's use some of my infamous matte glossy Rev 8 Tiny Picos that didn't work. We would use some of that, I think. I might as well do this, and then I've got this permanent, like I'll leave it as the permanent board for the RTCs, I think. What's on the printer? I'm printing Refloat Master cases. I sold out of Refloat Masters again last night. And I have to print 2 black cases. I have a matte black PCB just come in. Awesome. Have fun cleaning them after you hand solder on it, Julian. Do you work with multi-core at all? Like solder? Or are you just using just standard leaded solder? Because they are, yes, the matte black looks terrible with the flux. Don't skimp on the paint. What? It's only wafer. What are we talking about? Yeah, Tindy got busy overnight. It was kind of weird. I'm not sure. I've officially sold out of all my Refloat Masters now. Which is like, yeah. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm going to, I need my... As I mentioned, I really thought I was going to be doing play shields. Got all my stuff ready for my play shields. Okay, I'm just going to give this a bit of a clean. And wow, that just ripped the tissue up. And I'm also going to give, I'll do that on the tissue, give the board a clean. I always wipe the boards down with IPA now before I paste them to get my grubby fingerprints off them. Very important. This board feels a little bit too loose. I'm just going to tighten this side bit if I can. Okay, that's better. Awesome. Some dodgy Gordy's ripping off your Refloat Master design. No, he's not ripping it off. When we speak about it, he's just making it, and it's the same basically, but rather than using the custom board, he's doing it off an existing SAMD 21 board. That's all. And doing the hardware side himself, which is okay. If you need me to see something in the chat, you need to @me, or I'm going to miss it, especially when I'm starting to do this. Okay, wow. Where's my stencil? So the biggest problem with doing a panel like this is I've only got a certain period of time to get all the parts on and get it in the oven. And the chat distraction is going to slow me right down. I don't even have all my parts out. I probably should get them all out. I wonder if I've even got enough parts. That'll be interesting. I don't even know if I've got enough RTCs. Let's count my RTCs. So they came in a tube, and the tube was smashed. So I had to take them all out and make them loose. How many have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I got stacks. Okay, all good. All good. So yes, I need those. What else do I need? It's going to be a lot of caps, and I'm just going to prepare myself before I paste, because once I've pasted, I need to go. But until I paste, I've got some time. I've already lost half an hour. Not lost, you know what I mean? Okay, I just need to know what parts I need to get out, because I can't remember. Cap, resistors. Okay. So now I've got 10Ks there, and I've got a... Where's the value gone from that one? That's got to be 10Ks. 3 10Ks, a 10 microfarad, and a 1 microfarad? What? Ten. So for some reason the values on my some of these components have disappeared. 1 and 1. That's got to be a 0.1, surely. Something's happened to, maybe when I upgraded my Eagle. Okay, so I need a 1, a 0.1, and 10, 10, 10s. Okay, lots of 10s. I can't tell you how many 0603 10Ks I go through. I cannot begin to tell you. I've got 2 reels full over there waiting. Go through a lot of 10K resistors. And I need 0.1 and a 1. Although it should be a 10. I'll put a 10. Okay. I think I'm good. I think I've got everything out that I need. So, shall we do this? I think we should do this. I'm going to zoom in a bit for you so you can see the mess, the carnage. Pasting, I don't have a wide squeegee, so pasting panels is always fun. Hey David, welcome back from Japan. Oh, come on, paste. Okay. Let me get some paste out. Wow, it's wet. Oh, it's okay. Doesn't matter how much I use because I can put it all back in again. That's why I use tubs, so I don't get any wastage. Also, I don't get much wastage. Yeah, so the good news, because it's not super fine pitch, any of it, I can go back and forwards a few times. Have you considered using resistor arrays to reduce assembly time? Well, I have, but in this particular case, well, it's only a small amount of assembly time difference, but you can't get, or not that I've found, you can't get 3-up resistor arrays. So and I've only got 3 on here per board, 3 10Ks, so I need to use a 2 array and a single, or a 4 array and waste one, which I can do that. But the other thing is I've got reels of 10K resistors, so I do have 10 and 100K 4 resistor arrays in 0402s though, because I was at one point going to move to those on the Tiny Pico, but again it turns out I don't have enough to justify that. So anyway, let's do this. I'm going to, yeah, so the good news is I can go back and forwards to get them all, because it's not fine pitch, so I don't have to worry about causing bridges anywhere. So here we go. This is my new technique. Nice and slow. And that looks pretty good. Okay. That's everything. No gold showing through. Except I'm going to end up sticking my hand in the paste. You watch. Slow and steady wins the race. Every time. Okay, that looks pretty good. I think. Just checking everywhere. Haven't missed anything. Nope. Okay, good. So, that's one thing that's nice about working with boards with Enig, is you can see if you've missed anything quite easily, because you can see gold shining through. Okay, so I don't even know what order I'm going to do this in. Obviously I'm going to start off with the resistors, because I need about 5 million of them. You know, every hole has paste. Is that visible to the naked eye? Yes, so in the case of the Enig, so you got gold, right? Then you can see through the stencil quite clearly if there's any gold showing through. If you've got hassle on there, so the tin, the silver, you just have to look very carefully. Yeah, the resistor networks are fine, but I just up until now I haven't had other than maybe the play shield, I haven't had a use for an array where I could use a 4 or a 6 or an 8. Tallest first, just to make it fun. Yeah, thank you, but no. Now, the biggest challenge for me now is going to be the orientation of the resistors. So every single board I've built so far for Tiny Pico, like as in every shield, has aligned resistors, right? All the values are all facing the same way. Because I agree, it looks ugly. It's not an OCD thing. It's just, it looks ugly when they're not. And there's no reason why I shouldn't do that. The problem I've got, are there any polarized parts on the board? Nothing polarized, no. No. So this is going to be hard because I can't see the values like this. I'm going to need a lot of these. A lot. Okay, well, we'll start with those. Start with the battery clip first, yeah, because that won't get knocked off the board at all. Now, let's see how close I can get with my camera and still be able to work. Obviously, not going to be able to see the whole panel. I'll try to move it around as I'm working. If I can, just need to move these over a bit. So the resistor is going to be off the screen right now if I'm going to be this close. Just letting everyone know. And I better check again what I'm doing. So I've got 1, 2, 3. Yep. So the middle 3. How can you see the paste thickness? What? Thickness. How can I see the paste thickness? What are we talking about? Did you want to see the thickness of the paste? I'm not sure I understand. It's not going to probably work. So, was that a real question? Did I miss anything before I start? What's the benefit of the gold other than pretty? I thought it was mostly just a benefit of contacts. So it is. So with Enig, your surface is totally flat. When they do a hassle, whether it's leaded hassle or ROHS hassle, hassle's added on top. And so it's not a perfectly flat finish. And for most things it's fine, but for super fine pitch stuff, it's not as accurate, not as nice to work. The downside is though with Enig is the flux in most of the paste, and definitely with like solder, when you're hand soldering, has a much harder time disturbing the surface to make the solder stick. So it's you don't get as good a coverage sometimes on the pads with Enig. But my Tiny Picos are Enig, and so I made all of my boards Enig. They're all black with Enig, so everything Tiny Pico is black with Enig. And Enig is more expensive, but it's definitely more expensive when you're doing 10 boards. But when you're doing panels and the price per board gets dropped a lot. So what am I going to do? I need to decide what I'm going to do about the orientation of these. It's going to slow me right down if I have to rotate them all like this, but I think I will. So what I'm going to probably do is grab my little microscope, this little tiny one, and at least that way I can grab a resistor, look at it. Oh god, that's useless. See which way it is and then put it on the board. But I'm really too far away from the board to do this. What I might do, I wasn't planning on putting 5,000 resistors on a board today. I'm going to move my camera. If the audio gets really loud, sorry. It's all or nothing with Enig, yes, yeah. It's the whole treatment of the board. You can't pick and choose which pads. Okay, I'm just trying to bring the camera much closer so I can actually see what I'm doing. The problem is I'm right on the microphone. If that's too loud, let me know and I'll drop. Yeah, that's peaking a bit. Let me just... Okay, is that better? I'm going to headbutt the microphone. I'm just letting you all know. I still can't see what I'm doing, but... Wow. I did say this was going to be a bad idea, right? The good news is they'll straighten themselves up, mostly. The bad news is I just still can't see which way the orientation is. Okay, this is a really bad idea, everyone. Realize how long it's going to take me to place these? If I can't see the orientation. Which method? What are we doing? Okay, this is really... I might have to change my glasses. I've got a pair of glasses that are better for... Yeah, this is going to take 2.5 hours to place a few resistors like this. Okay, I'll try these. I can't see out of them. I can't see distance, but I can see closer. So maybe I can speed up. Okay, I can actually see the resistors now. But I can't see this screen. I cannot see chat. I'm warning you all now. Spin that one around. Get off the tweezers. I can't believe you chose this board. Terrible board to do on the stream. And like it's just gonna be quiet now. Okay. Okay. Everything, the chat and everything is totally blurry. And you realise now that I've started, I can't stop. I can't change my mind, right? See how fast I can get through this. Now, if this isn't a good reason why a pick and place should be purchased, I don't know what is. Like, I don't know what else would have to justify a pick and place. I can't see chat. I suggested the X3 header board, I swear. You did not, Mr. Ludgate. You absolutely did not. Should have just said no to this board, but you know what? I did ask. So, when you ask, you suffer the consequences. Oh, I knocked it. Really a bad idea, folks. I could pull the parts off and just wipe the paste off the board and abandon it, but this is going to be the most boring stream you guys have ever seen. And you can all blame Mr. Ludgate. Hey, you know, plain. Make it more interesting then. How would you like me to make it more interesting? Can you create a device to make a pick and place using a 3D printer? I can't see the chat, folks. Others shouting than me. No, it was all you, Mr. Ludgate. I'm going to blame you. Okay, I'm going to stop rotating the resistors in a second because it's taking too long. It's only 20 boards. Can someone count the parts? So there's 3 resistors. Hey, Mr. Taggart, the count. 3 resistors, 4 caps, and a crystal, and an IC, and a battery clip. How many parts is that? I'm not rotating the resistors anymore. It's going to be potluck what you get. Much faster. Lots. Is there only 10 parts per board? What? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, 10, yeah. So 200 parts. I'm going to have to sit and hand place 200 parts now, just for you all. All because Mr. Ludgate insisted on the RTC board. The good news is... Nah, there's no good news. I'm even dropping my standards for this. Has everyone noticed? I'm not even rotating. Was that off the top of the screen? I'm sorry if that was. I might pull out a fraction so you can see more of the board. Okay. Is that in focus? What have I missed? Oh, I need my other glasses. I'll have to watch some pick and place factory footage from Adafruit. Yeah, thanks. You have to watch this to the bitter end now, Mr. Ludgate. Faster if the NPN instead of PnP. Oh, very funny. And the good news is the boards are out of focus. Are they out of focus? That should be... Well, you just can't see which way they are. Was back in focus now. Okay, cool. Sorry about that. It could be the my hand going in front. Back in... Okay, gotta keep going. I am gonna do this. I'm running out of resistors. I'm gonna smash this out of the park. A couple of wonky ones, gotta say. Can anyone hear the mouse? My printer sounds like a mouse right now. Oh, I just stuck my... No, I didn't. Okay, I need more resistors. Always more resistors. Clearly 10k resistors are my favourite. Oh, I can't even open this. I can't focus. So these glasses are for close-up work, and I am totally blind when it's not close. Okay. More resistors. Tell some stories about your school days. I was born an adult. Oh, you guys are hilarious. I'm really missing... If I'm missing some really awesome chat, I'm going to be so upset. My school days. I don't want to tell you about my school days. I was a terror at school. So, for those of you that caught my stream the other day when my family were on it, not that I deliberately want to bring this up again, but so everyone in my family suffers from all sorts of weirdness, as in my immediate family, as in my children and my wife, and I've been the last in the list to be diagnosed with ADHD. And I've got ADHD, but I did not know until like a few months ago. But I've had it my whole life. And looking back now at my life through the eyes of knowing that I've got ADHD, holy moly, it explains so much about my life. Like I used to sit in class and like I never did homework. ever. And I used to, so in my maths classes, I used to sit and read fantasy novels. In computer science, I would excel. In physics, I never did my prac work. And teachers used to get really upset with me, and my parents used to be in school all the time, and it got to the point where the teachers just let me just do what I wanted to do. Because my grades were okay, I was passing, everything was fine. And I wasn't being disruptive in class. But, when you're sitting reading fantasy novels in your maths class, your teachers start to get a bit annoyed. But anyway, it's no one could work out why, but it's just because I was, there's my ADHD. I was hyper focused on only what I was interested in. If I wasn't interested in it, I didn't do it. I wouldn't do it. It didn't matter what the consequences were. So if anyone knows anyone with ADHD, the consequences become irrelevant. You're either going to do it or you're not going to do it. So, yeah, my whole life, I guess I've just been hyper-focusing on stuff that really interested me, which is why I learn quickly. But I also, stuff that I'm not interested in, I don't learn. So, it's a gift and a curse. Almost done the resistors. You're not weird. You just have a different reality, yeah. They threw you out of school. Oh no. I'm sorry if I'm missing people's answers and responses. I just feel like I'm just, yeah. But so my school years were really interesting, and I was always a mix of, I was obviously into tech and computers. I was a computer nerd, although, obviously computers had only just come out to the home market. But I was also quite social, which was weird. So I kind of bridged the whole nerd versus sporties versus social groups at school. So that was interesting. That was always a juggle for me to mix, for me to deal with. But I was definitely not a good student. Hope my kids are not watching this. I was not a good student, and I've always kind of, even with my work, I've always run my own businesses. I've always been a terrible employee. I have worked for some companies before. I worked for IBM for a while, and for Credit Suisse and some other big names, but I just never stuck it out because I'd lose interest straight away. That's all the resistors. Yay, did I get them all? Can everyone check? I can't believe they're not all the right way around though. I'm devastated. Okay, 0.1 caps I need. I need 20 0.1 caps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Start off with 10. I don't like taking out more than I need when I'm working because when they end up loose everywhere in the containers, it's a bit of a pain. So I need to put my hand to steady myself. So there you go, that's some stories of mine from school. What if I missed anything? Okay. Leaves his close-up glasses on. He's going to read that you got diagnosed a genuine Shrek. What? 64. Oh, we're up to 64, are we? Awesome. The count's counting again. Okay, by the way, I'm only going to do one of these panels, okay? So did everyone catch the MakerCast on the weekend that was hosted by Mr. Ludgate? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. I was rostered to be on that MakerCast, but I had to be up at 4 in the morning for it, and that just was not going to happen. So this daylight saving thing is just a killer. So I bowed out on it. But it was good I bowed out, because then there was room for some, or a new face. Mr. David Watts was on it. I'm only counting now. My board is finished. 7. David Watts is a natural. He's a natural, and he's quite funny. And he talks himself down all the time. And he shouldn't. You listening, Mr. Watts? God, where am I up to? But he's got a really nice, genuine personality. He's quite funny. He's very charming, Mr. David Watts. Really nice guy. So it was great to have him on a MakerCast finally. Especially because he was a bit jet lagged, because he just got back from Japan. Whoa. This eyes looking up thing is killing me. Okay, 10 microfarad. I need 20 of those. I think that's 10. Oh boy. Guess who we bullied into next month? Apparently I'm hosting the next one. David's hosting the next one! Yeah! Can you host it an hour later and then I'll come on it? I definitely want to be on the next one because there's stuff for me to talk about. Wow, I'm giving it all away. My concern with this board right now is that, because I can't really see how good my placement is because of my angle. I'm worried that the surface tension on the paste might not be enough to hold some of these in place, and I might get some rotating parts when it reflows, and then I'm going to have to rework the board, which is going to be a pain. Because heating up a board this size and reworking is quite difficult. Takes a long time. That's way too late for everyone. 1 hour later, really? You can't talk calling yourself a hack this afternoon on Twitter. You've imagined yourself doing this and going live with a... Yeah, okay, but that doesn't mean I'm not a hack. I'm still a hack. Like, I'm untrained. I'm not, I've got no formal training in this space. Everything I know I learnt by hacking like other people do. Like, and I am. Like, if you saw my design process, really, for my, like even at the soldering jig this thing, like, there's no way I could have videoed me designing this thing, because it was a hack job. Anyway, but I wear the hack moniker quite comfortably. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not talking myself down by saying I'm a hack. I'm proud to be a hack. And I don't like turn around and like I'm proud of what I've accomplished. Don't get me wrong. My aim isn't to talk myself down, it's just to say that I'm, because of my ADHD, I'm impulsive. Like, I don't plan stuff. I make a decision I'm going to do something, and I do it, and I work out the plan afterwards, right? That's a hack. Nothing wrong with hack and copy what others do. Yeah, like it's, you know, that's how some people learn. That's how I learn. You know what I mean? So I'm not trying to be like derogatory when I say it. Or talk myself down. Yeah. I hope that all makes sense. Colin, does that all make sense? I need 1, 2, 3. I need 3. Look at that. Do I have enough? I don't think so. I've also got 2 more reels of these as well. I haven't opened all my reels though. Has anyone noticed that? You remember when I came back from Shenzhen, I bought a whole bunch of reels? They're up on my shelf still, unopened. Why? Well, I might be saving them for something. Oh, come on. This tape is... Did I say 3? I need 3. Well, grab it straight, see on. Oops, missed one. God, that really is not my best work. Not bad work, but not my best work. I think my best work requires my microscope. Best investment I ever made was my microscope. I missed one, but now I've got one. I've got them all now, I think. No, ooh, no buffering. Just refresh the browser if it's buffering. Looks like 2B's missing a cap. 2B. Oh, I am. You're right. There is one I'm missing. Thank you. That's because I keep looking up and getting myself distracted. My own fault. Thank you, but I've got you guys to back me up, which is great. Okay. Now we're going to... I feel like I want to do the ICs now, and then turn the board around and do the crystals and caps. Or should I do the crystals and caps? I think I might turn the board around and do the crystals and caps. So it's added beating cobra heart vodka. What? Wait. Great. So I need... I'm going to actually probably go this way. No, I'm going to do crystals first. Crystals first. Where are my crystals? Here they are. So they're 32K crystals. Can everyone, is that in focus? Yes. But they only use 7 picofarad caps. 20 of those. And they look really cool, actually. You gotta be kidding me. Really? Do I not have an open end? I don't have an open end. God, that is annoying. Oh, what am I missing? My brother is exactly like me. Like you. As in ADHD, as in a hack. Why do you have the fiducials when you place them by hand? That's just the way they come when you do a panel with JLC PCB. When you ask for edge rails, which you need to, and I'll explain to you why in a second, when you ask for edge rails, they just put fiducials on for you. Wow, I can't get the plastic off. So the reason you must ask for edge rails is if you don't, see that on the edge rail they stick the serial number. If you don't ask for edge rails, they'll stick the serial numbers on the boards again. There'll be one board on every panel that's got the frickin' serial number on it. Sorry. Like, yeah, the whole idea of sending out boards to people with the JLC PCB serial number on it is annoying for me. So it's actually a little bit cheaper to not have edge rails. But there is no way that I am... Yeah. I hope that makes sense. What does that mean? than the 7. Okay, so a crystal to oscillate has caps on either side of it. Let me just get this back in the center. So I'm about to place this crystal here, and you'll see that on each side of that crystal there are 2 caps, and that's how it oscillates, and that's how it keeps its frequency. And so different crystals need different capacitors on each side. So the crystals I use for my SAMD21, they use 12.5 picofarad caps. This particular crystal uses 7 picofarad caps on each side. And it doesn't really matter. I need to blow my nose, excuse me. And my drink has gone cold, and I can't see. Right, needs to make things now. I can't wait till next. Yeah, it's impulsive, and a part of being impulsive is being impatient, unfortunately. No, if you get edge rails, it puts the serial number on the edge rails. If you don't tick the edge rails for the panel, then they'll stick it wherever they stick it, unless you put an XXX somewhere, or whatever they're... There's something you can stick on the board, XXXX or something. I think Teletronics knows. And they'll stick their serial number there. So you can specify where. Otherwise, it's a random spot. So for the extra, like, $1 or $1.50 it costs. So it's not that they charge you for the edge rails, but you pay for the amount of PCB. And edge rails are made out of PCB, right? So when you get the edge rails, your PCB cost goes up. That's all. So it's not a lot. It's like $1 something. But the fiducials are good because I'm not going to be hand placing these forever. Like on this board I might be. So they will come in handy for the future. And also having the edge rails allows me to clamp it properly if I were to clamp it in a pick and place machine. Okay, are we keeping count? Oh, JLC, okay, cool. Hey, Nano Master. I'm not wearing my glasses. Can't see anything. What was the comment? You put, oh, JLC. Okay, there you go. Yeah, but there's no point having edge rails and not having fiducials, in my opinion. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, oh. 115. Ha 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 ha. I'm getting through this faster than I thought I would, only because of the resistors, not rotating them all around. Okay. Now, caps. And I know you think it might be crazy that I put the... Maybe I should have put the caps on first. Oh, who knows? Maybe I should have. Can you really get return on investment on a pick and place machine? So that's an interesting thing. I've been having a really long, good chats with Yuz about this. So can I get a return on investment financially? Probably not, no. Can I get a return on investment on my mental health and sanity? Yeah. The cost for me for all of this is stress and frustration. I mean, you can see how many parts are on this board, right? So I'm doing all my shields in a limited run for the campaign, so I don't have to build 5 billion of them. Okay, because I can't. But I still have to build enough that I've probably got 5 or 6 solid weeks, 10 hours a day of building panels or boards coming up. So that is going to be a complete mental strain for me. Like, I can't get these done in China. I can't get 10 panels made in China. It just doesn't work that way, right? Which pick and place are you getting? Well, I'm not getting anything yet. Who is the N in the human PnP? What do you mean the N? Oh, I don't understand pick and place. I am the pick and place person. The N is the and, isn't it? I'm leaning towards a charm high, but I still haven't pulled the plug because it's still not. There's still not a perfect solution for what I need. Okay, let's see if I can do this without knocking the crystal like I just did. Okay, those 2 pads there probably don't have enough paste on them. I might lose that cap. I'm sorry my finger's in the way. I need to balance my finger, my hand. Is this in camera? Yes, it is. So my dilemma still is the problem with the charm highs is that they do I have enough feeders? Yeah, I get the 48 VB, so it's got 50 something feeders. So it's got enough feeders for me, but it's only got 2 heads, and it doesn't have interchangeable heads, as in not automatic during a run. And 2 heads is not enough to build a tiny Pico. I need 3 because of the range of parts I use. So getting any of the charm highs that isn't a 4-head machine is a compromise. But as I mentioned on my last stream, there's no way I'm building my own. Some PCB companies have assemblies. They do, but it's expensive. Very expensive. It's expensive when you're only, like, you know, people go, yeah, go use PCB way. They'll do a short run. And their short run, my boards will be 3 times the price. So, you know, there's the cost factor involved, and also the ability to test the boards before they get sent to me. Like, what happens when I get all my boards sent? Like, how would I get them to test a panel of RTC, or, you know, 10 panels of RTC clocks? So JLC PCB are launching they already do manufacturing PCBA for prototyping only, not large run, only short run. Maximum 30 boards on a run. They do it for their Asian customers right now, but they are going to be opening up in the next few months to do it for the rest of the world. And I will definitely consider trialing them, because then my parts are coming from LCSC and my boards are coming from JLC PCB, and so everything's kind of already there anyway, and they'll only do short run. So it might be worth my while looking at that, but it's not going to happen in time for the campaign. So it's not an option for me. I need to solve this another way. And you know what? I'm prepared to sit here and hand build all of my boards. I've built over 100 tiny Picos by hand now. Like, I'm not afraid to do it. I'm not, it's not a confidence thing. It's just super stressful. Maybe you can 3D print one. 3D print a pick and place. Yeah, no. If I wanted a cheap, no offense, if I wanted a cheap crap pick and place machine, they're easy to get my hands on. They won't build what I need. I need a machine that can reliably place 0402 and smaller, because my SOT 883 parts are smaller than a 0402. Reliably place them super close together, perfect every time. Not miss pick up, not drop them, not misplace them, not get stuck. Yeah, no, I need something that actually works. I feel your pain. I built 900 charged. Right, exactly, Julian. Like, it's tough going. Like, I know that's why you don't want to build and sell boards anymore. I think one of the reasons why, anyway. Like, it's really... And can I tell you something? When I build tiny picos, I am stressed out. Like, it is... My concentration level, when I'm building tiny... Like, because I build 2 at a time, because that's all I can fit really comfortably on the turntable, right? And because of how long they take to build, like, I need to be careful of how long the paste is sitting there. So, where am I up to here? When I'm building, like, no joke, and I'm not complaining, don't get me wrong, I'm really not complaining. When I'm building a tiny pico, I am stressed out. Because it's so easy to place stuff and knock parts while I'm placing them. I have to keep my hands super steady. I have to... I got 90% of the parts that are on the board have no labels on them. If I mispick up a part or I misplace a part, I wreck a board, and I don't know I've wrecked it till afterwards, right? Like, I have to be so careful. So, like, when I go into my concentration mode where I'm building a tiny pico, I can't... I mean, it's great. Like, my ADHD lets me hyper-focus, right? But it's really stressful. And I might have to be building 300 or 400 of them. So, yeah. The time and effort can be spent on other things. That's right, my time and effort can be spent on other things, right? If I had a pick and place machine sitting there building, and don't get me wrong, at the below $10,000 level for a pick and place, so the Charm High is going to cost me just about $7,500 for the Charm High. That's a lot of money, $7,500, right? And that's just for a desktop pick and place machine, 1, 2, 3, 4. You know what I mean? It's not even a commercial grade pick and place machine. It's designed for prototyping only, really. So that's a lot of money to spend. And even with that pick and place machine, I'm going to have to stand and monitor it a lot. It's going to misplace. It's going to mispick up. The feeders are going to get jammed. I mean, even big machines that happens. That's why they've got people standing on the assembly line all the time. And with the tiny pico, I'm going to have to... I'm taking a break for a second. My eyes are killing me. My company have a deal with a local manufacturer. Like 4 to 5 panels of beta cards in between big runs. Yeah, I can't do that. I mean, I can do that, but here in Australia, it's going to cost me $4 or $5 a board to do that, plus a setup fee for the parts. And my parts are difficult. Like, again, for the tiny pico, they're quite, they're really, really small, and there's a lot of wastage putting them on a proper pick and place machine. And I just lost my train of thought. I can't remember what I was saying. Can't remember. Okay, that's all the caps. Okay, so now we have ICs and battery clip. How are we going for time? Wow, it's taken me about an hour, has it? I think. Go soldering, go see it manually. I don't fancy moving to 0402. I'm quite happy doing 0402 manually, but the issue is going to be doing quantity. Like, I'm super comfortable building my tiny picos. If I just had to build 1 or 2, no problem, right? It's the quantity I need to build, and they need to be reliable. Like, you know what I mean? It's every board that I have to do any rework on, it's a waste of time. So I need 20 of these. So yeah, it's not it's not the level of parts I'm working at. It's the quantity of that I need to do. Like, I don't want to have people waiting 8 weeks to get their boards, right? So you can't see what I'm doing. Let me just zoom out for a bit. I'm pulling out chips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And look at that. 10, 11. Oh, did you even see that hanging? 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, Whoops. 16. I'm trying to get the ones that are upright. 17. Flipped it. 18. 19. 20. Ah, ha, 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 ha. Over to a good microscope is doable. Sure. So you have the option to do short run work for others. Right, I mean, maybe some other opportunities will open up for me if I had a pick and place machine. It'll also mean that. So okay, so here's a really good example of if I had a pick and place machine right now, right? So when I make reflow masters, I am making them 4 at a time, and they take a long time to make. But if I would have had a pick and place machine, right, I'd make all the surface mount stuff in one hit, right? I'd build 40 of them or 50 of them at one hit. I wouldn't worry about trying to do only a few at a time. You know, like, it doesn't make any sense to try to, like, it doesn't make any sense to build 4 at a time manually like I do now. It also doesn't make sense to do only a few at a time with a pick and place machine. Like, I'm out of reflow masters now, and I hate when I'm out of them and I need to build more. Because they're just again, they're a manual time sink of assembling the boards. I would gladly build 40 at a time. I mean, I've got 4 to a panel, 10 panels at a time, done. You know, even these shields I could do on a pick and place machine. And I'd gladly do 1 panel at a time. The key for me with a pick and place machine is I need to have enough feeders to have everything I need already loaded. Right? If I've got to swap parts to build a board, that's the time sink. And that's where you get wasted parts. But if I had all my parts already loaded, I could just put a board down, load up the profile, calibrate the machine, and build a board, right? You know, I enjoy building boards. Like, I don't find this a chore. But anything you enjoy doing, when you can do it when you want to, and enjoy it and take your time, is always nice. And when you're under pressure to do quantity in a certain period of time, it takes the fun out of it. It reduces your unit cost. Well, it does reduce your unit cost, except only if I have other things to do with my time. Like, if I don't have other things to do with my time, then it's a terrible business. It doesn't make any business sense, but my time's free if I've got nothing else to do with my time. But the challenge for me if I had a pick and place machine would be to finding other things to do with my time that wasn't just me designing stacks more boards because I'm free to do so, you know what I mean? Because that's a dangerous slope for me. The enjoyment of designing and building hardware will lead me to be building stuff that I shouldn't be building just because I can. That's dangerous. Does the decision on a PnP depend on how well Tiny Pico goes? Well, bye, Rando. If anyone's left, by the way, I'm sorry. I'm really obviously having to focus on this. Thank you, Mr. Ludgate. And I didn't even zoom back in so you can see what I'm doing. Shame. It will focus in a second. There we go. Thanks for joining. It's an interesting one because I can't wait to see if the campaign goes well or not. Because getting a pick and place machine is going to take a few weeks minimum, and then setting it up and learning how to use it, and then rebuying a lot of my parts or some of my parts in reels, and working out how to run it and going through the process of failed boards and yields and stuff. Like, I'm not going to have time to wait until the campaign ends to see whether I need to buy a pick and place machine or not. If I haven't bought one by then, I'm going to have to do them all by hand. Okay, is that all the chips on? Are they all the right way? I think they are. Now it's battery cell time, battery clip time, and these are a real pain to get on, and you'll see why in a moment. What did I miss? Robots with lasers for eyes. Make that in your new free time. Yeah, I don't know. What? Did Stephen go to bed? If Mr. Ludgate's gone, I'm gonna mail him a slap in the face. I'm doing this for him. No, I'm not. They have to be done anyway, but I'm doing it for everyone. But yes, so the reason these are real pain to get on, can't see, is because they don't balance very well. As you'll see in a second. So these are, sorry, they're off camera again. I'm trying to get close enough you can see. They don't balance very well, and they don't sit very well in the pads. See this? I can't grab it properly. So they're a real pain to get on, and they fall out of my tweezers really easily. So this should be fun. Okay, let's just line them all up first. You're here is doing the washing. Oh, okay. I feel like if I have to suffer through this, you have to suffer through this. Yeah, and as you can see, these battery clips, they just fit on. Like I was lucky I found them. They're like, I think they're 50 cents each or 60 cents each. And how many did I buy? 100. In 100 quantity, they're like 60 cents each. And that's the minimum quantity. So, yeah, they're not the cheapest battery clips ever. But I needed something that would fit on the board. Can people do those battery holders? No. That's the other thing as well, is a pick and place machine can't do every part. Because the battery holders, they're where it would pick it up from, that's where the push down thing is to hold the battery in place. So no. The same with my antennas on my Tiny Pico. When the pick and place machine goes to pick up the antenna, it's going to squish the antenna. So there's still going to be some manual work involved. But it's much quicker placing 15 antennas on a panel than it is hand building 15 boards. But yeah, there's still going to be some manual work as well. So I've got a lot of choices. I've got a lot of decisions to make. As I mentioned, it's not at this price range. A pick and place is not ideal. Like, you know what I mean? I don't want to spend my $7,500 and then regret the purchase because of all the hassles it introduces. If you weren't admin, you'd have been banned. Who's being banned? No, this is a CR 1025. 1025, I think it is. Yeah, 1025. So you can look those up. They're 3 volt little battery. And I was actually looking for a smaller battery. I found some, I think I mentioned on a previous stream, I found some Vartas, like, that weren't batteries, you know, like, just solder these Varta on and don't make them interchangeable. They're $1.50, no, $2.50 each. What? I don't know what the conversation's happening right now. So, yeah, they were $2.50 US each or something. Some ridiculous price. So I decided not to use those. Oh, and I had to buy, to get that price, I had to buy 1,000 of them. I mean, that would have been a nice solution, not have a battery clip and not have a battery. Just put a... Because one of those Vata battery backup things, you know, you'd get like 5 years out of it. I'm pretty sure there won't be people using a tiny picker RTC clock in 5 years' time. Not at the rate technology moves. What I'm saying, you could make a service to pick place for other people. I could, but I don't know if I want to have the hassles of that, because again, you know, someone comes in with a board and it requires me to completely swap out all my parts and put parts in for them. You know, that takes time, and again, wastage of parts. I don't know if I want to be responsible for other people's board assembly either. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure I want that responsibility. I'd want it free to be able to use it whenever I need it, I think. You know, and once again, the money I'd get from it just wouldn't be worth it. Like, I can't afford $5 a board to get these made in Australia. But $5 a board is not a lot if someone needs a quick run of stuff, right? Like, I can't afford it for this project because I've got, like, that's my margin on my board. You know, I can't afford to do that. But $5 a board's just not a lot if I was doing it for someone else. Not for the headaches involved. Almost there. Almost done, folks. Oh, took out an extra one. Is that even in focus? Wow. Placing the components is the most fun for about 40 seconds. No, I really enjoy it. I really enjoy placing stuff. I mean, that wasn't too bad. I feel bad that I wasn't reading the chat all the time, but that wasn't too bad. Like, I didn't mind building that. I do mind the fact that my alignment on some of these components are a bit not up to my standard. I'm pretty, I have to say, like, I don't think I've got OCD, but what I do have is very high standards for myself. And I feel like some of these parts are just not there. But anyway, that looks good. I'm going to cook it. I'm going to change my glasses is what I'm going to do first. Shake it, bake it. Drops the board. Yeah, don't laugh. I'll tell you something I did yesterday, but I'll wait till this is in the oven. Okay, Refloat master time. Here we go. Okay, it's 12 degrees in the oven right now. It's going to take some time to warm up. Okay, let's go back to here just for now. Yay, cooking! I'm pretty OCD about component placement and manually soldering. Makes me cringe when YouTubers distress and parts of heads. Yeah, no, I mean, surface tension will help a little bit, like to straighten them up, but not all the time. So how long did that take me? That was too long, I think. That felt too long. It's freezing. Oh, wait. Yeah, my oven freezes the boards. That's how it solders. No. It's just 14 degrees in there. It's warming up. It's going to get to 27. It's at 21 now. So I'm just going to put my parts away before I knock them and lose them all. Okay, last one. And I'm going to put these back in the container. That took me 1 hour. That's not bad. Do you have tomatoes to go with the board? It's not 1 hour. I mean, that's 1 hour is way too long to build that board. But like normally, I could probably knock that out in about half an hour if I was under the microscope. But not too bad for the stream. Oops. I left a little label out. So I've started, I'll just quickly show you, something I should have done a while ago. I started now sticking the, wherever they come from, cutting off the label and sticking it in the component drawer. So when I need to go reorder, I don't have to go look back at my orders again. I can just find the label in there and do it from that. I'd like to follow your Python tutorial, but I want to use your Tiny Pico. When can I buy one? Very soon. I'm not Chuck. Very soon. But it's so for those waiting to buy a Tiny Pico, the campaign is launching. I can't say it any clearer. Very soon, but you got to remember that the campaign goes for a month, and we might ship out boards before the campaign finishes to some people. We'll see how we go. Obviously, when I need to send all the stuff to Crowd Supply, they send them out, and so so it costs me quite a lot of money to send them to Crowd Supply. Obviously, I need to DHL them there, and I need to send them with like insurance and stuff. So it's I don't want to be sending multiple packages to them. I'd rather like do them all in one hit or whatever. So what did I miss? 1 hour to replace all that with us nibbling in your ear. Yeah, that was pretty good. That was okay. Wasn't half of it reading it, and it's not crap. But keep the labels away from heat and UV. I had that plan. Moved my office around, putting some resistors next to the radiator. Well, they're all sitting kind of above my Refloat oven, so that's probably not good. Crowd Supply to Major Sion. What? I'm a ladder love. That's Air Supply. Oh, I love Air Supply. Big fan of Air Supply. Yeah, look, those labels won't be in there that long. I go through parts so quickly. It's pretty crazy. Wow, that's really good. I need to put my paste back in the jar. I should have done that earlier. I didn't think I was going to take this because we don't want to lose the paste. We don't like wastage of paste if we can avoid it. Paste is not cheap. So I definitely don't like wasting. But getting it back into jars is hard. I'm not going to show you this on camera because this is just disgusting. Like, I wish paste was cheap enough that I wouldn't care and I could just chuck stuff out, but it's not. Oh wow, that's messy. You ship them to Crowd Supply and they ship them to buyers. Yes, and that's a fairly new thing. When I first signed up with them, they still had the option for me to ship them myself, but they stopped doing that. And so, and unfortunately, that is because of Mr. Trump and his cronies. Sorry, I'm going to say that. I'm not a US citizen. I don't care. And I'm sorry if I goes against anyone else's political view, but his stupid embargo stuff that he's done with both with China and the rest of the world. There are so many laws now, so many rules in America about where they can and can't ship things to, and everything that gets shipped, everything that gets sold in America, right? And so let's face it, like Crowd Supply is an American company, so so you're buying them from Crowd Supply, you're technically buying them from America, even though they're mine, right? There are now laws to do with where things can be shipped to. Sorry, my oven just beeped. Doing cool down. So it beeped for me to open the door. And so a lot of people got stung where they were illegally sending things to the wrong place or didn't have the right documentation and stuff. And so now that Crowd Supply have been bought by Mauser, their rule is that they have to ship everything. Which is a bit of a pain, I know. I would have liked it not to be that way, but it's the way it is. And yeah. So the notice will come from Crowd Supply, and yeah, everything will be through Crowd Supply. Yes. How long can the paste be on the board before it needs to be reflowed? So it depends on the paste. So like my normal stuff that I work with, the low temp stuff, is maybe maybe an hour, maybe two, but two's maximum. You can see it starts to slump. So when you paste it, it's quite rigid. You can see it sitting there, and then eventually it starts to spread out. And you can also see that the flux starts to spread out as well. So if it sits there for too long, the flux, you get issues with flux and stuff. But like with stuff like this, with this quick chip, this can sit on there for, oh, you can't see that. Whoops. This is my T4 quick chip. This can sit on there for like, 3 or 4 hours, I think. It can stay on the stencil for 12 hours. No, this one, maybe 4 hours it can stay on the stencil before you can put it back in the jar. As long as you keep it airtight afterwards, it's fine. Okay, so this is Refloat. I'm not going to have a big enough heatsink. Let's see the damage, shall we? Let's see how many components shifted. Dun, dun, dun. Looking. There's a couple that aren't perfectly straight, but we had no shifting components. Holy moly. That looks pretty good. Sorry, no, it's not straight on the board. It's going to be hot. Sorry, in the camera I meant. How much closer can we get? So, but apart from the flux, as you can all see, looks like the cap you were worried about behaved. Yeah, it's I'll give it a once over under the microscope, but that's pretty good. So here's the thing: the longer you have the paste sitting on the board before you reflow and before you put the components down, the more chance you're going to get shifting and stuff, right? You need to get the paste when the flux in the paste is really good. The flux starts to dry or it starts to separate from the paste. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Obviously, I have to test them all. But there you go. Top right cap wonky. Yeah, as I said, there might be a couple of caps, a couple of components that are maybe not perfectly straight. Yeah, that one here. Yep. Okay, yeah, I missed that one with the lighting. Is that the only one? I will. Top right hand corner. Yep. Got that one. Thank you. Let's hot air that in place now before I forget. God, look at all the scorch marks on my cork. Okay. Hot air gun. I love my hot air gun. Notice the center pad on the battery holder has paste. Wouldn't it be better without? So I didn't know that. I didn't check the stencil before when I first started building them, and I forgot to. So I built the footprint for the battery clip, and when I put those pads down, I forgot to turn off to use that pad, not to use that pad on the stencil. It was my own fault. It was an oversight. And so when I got them and I realized it was like that, it was too late. I already pasted and built it I had a panel pasted ready to go. So I built it and it works fine. And the battery sits in there perfectly. So you got to remember that because of the ENIG, the paste doesn't sit so high. If there was hassle there, then the paste would be sitting much higher. So I'm just focusing if I can. So it actually works out quite good for the battery. It gives it really good contact. Okay, so should have swapped my glasses. I really can't see what I'm doing. I need to swap my glasses. Except I put them away. Oh, that's better. Now I can actually see what I'm doing. Curious to see if this just moves back in place by itself. The surface tension may let it do that, or it may not. I don't know. My hot air gun gets a lot of use. Okay. Any other ones I need to, while I'm here? I don't think so. Okay, that's it. Done. Surgery complete. Wow, blind. I think my eyesight's getting worse and worse though as well. Just start using Twitter more until you... Oh, Twitter. Okay. Get the board back on the heatsink, although the heatsink's quite warm. But there we go. We have a panel of RTC clocks. That was pretty cool. You noticed the cap was crooked before the refloat. Why didn't you say something? I thought it might have moved during the reflow, but yeah, it might have been placed a bit funny. 150 cap, not bad. Yeah, considering I was really couldn't see what I was doing. I expected it to be worse than that. And most of the components lined up okay, like they realigned themselves. So I would not be embarrassed at all to ship these, other than the fact that some of the resistors are not aligned. But, you know, unless you stick it under magnifying glass, you're not going to know. Cool. Yay. So, now I'm going to do some hand soldering. You there, Julian? I have to. I want to see if my jig works. So, what do I need? Oh, I can't. I don't have a board to do it on because I haven't cleaned my boards yet. Oh, that is annoying. Well, okay, I'm not going to hand solder. I might see if they align though. Oh, so I got two stories to tell everyone. Okay, I'm going to tell my stories first. So, I need to get props. One story, two story. How many stories? Yes, stories. Need those props, and I need these props. Jackanory, I don't know what that means. Can you test the shields? I can't test the shields. I need to test them individually. I can't do that while they're on a panel. So they need to be pulled apart, and they need to be, yeah. So I'm not going to, I'm not going to do that now on the stream. I'll do it later. Is everybody sitting comfortably? Yes, it's story time. So, I'll start off with what happened yesterday. So yesterday I built 8 display shields, play shields, 8 play shields, and 6 tiny picos, right? That's the second story. And so when I take the tiny picos out of the oven, I reflow them. Story. Oh, okay. They call it C booby. Okay, I know what's going on. Anyway, so obviously they got RAM on the back, but when I make them, they don't have RAM on them, right? And they go in the oven like this, on this PCB. And then I put them in, and then I take them out like this, and then what I do is, so I've got my pliers, so I pull them out of the oven, I'm holding them like this, right? Because it's hot, and I go, this is not going to work very well because of the RAM, but then I go like this, and I slide them on carefully to the heatsink so they can cool down, right? I've done this, well, obviously quite a lot because I've built over 100 boards. But yesterday I did this. I'm not going to be able to reproduce it exactly, but it kind of went like this, and then they twisted, and that one landed, and then this one landed. However it was, it kind of landed like that out of the oven. Right? Now, they cool down a bit in the oven, but they're not cooled down all the way. And they're black boards, they hold the temperature a lot. And so I got my tweezers and I went to separate them, and as I was coming in to grab them, I slipped where I was standing, smacked my knee on the desk, grabbed a board, and literally, this board here, I bashed into the side of this board, pushed the antenna across the thing, and pushed all the components sideways on the board. It was still hot enough that they could move, and I literally destroyed half a tiny pico with the other one because I slipped and fell and knocked one board into the other board, right? You can laugh, absolutely. At the time, it was not funny. At the time, I was swearing my head off. Because as I said, they're stressful to make, right? When I'm making batches of tiny picos. And I sat there, so, I mean, one board was great. I grabbed the other board, and I got my cork, and I sat there, and I took all the parts off, and hand placed them all back on with my hot air gun, and ended up with a perfect board. And it was fine. But it was, like, there was flux all over the board, and it was just the worst possible time to smack my knee, trip and smack my knee on the desk. Anyway, so that was one story. I mean, it's, I guess it's not life-changing, but it was, yeah. So now, when I take them out, I put the last batch I did, right? I take it out of the oven. I've got 2 heatsinks, a smaller one, right? So what I do is I keep them on this. No, I fixed the board. I fixed it. There's no way I was going to waste it. Not a chance. Anyway, so now what I do is I take it out of the oven with my tweezers. I put it here, like that. And then I pick up one at a time. And I put them on the main heatsink. I'm not sliding them anymore. There's no more sliding. So, yeah, that was one thing. So the other thing was, I built last week, move this way, I built 4 play shields because I needed to send some off to Crowd Supply and send some out to some reviewers. Making lemonade from lemons. And so I built 4 play shields, and I test them before I put the screens on. And so that they look like this beforehand. So when they come off the panel, it's like this. Right? So I haven't done the back yet. I haven't done the headers. They're just like this, but I can test them like this. And it's really nasty how I test them. But I test them, right? I tested the amp works. I tested everything else works. That it can find the accelerometer and everything else. And so that's all cool. And then all I have to do is put the headers on the screen on. So I put the headers on, and I put the screens on, and I plugged them all in to test them all again, and one of the screens was faulty. So it was only showing every second line. And what's the benefit of letting your boards cool naturally using the heatsink? Because if I leave them to cool naturally, I need to leave hot boards on my desk, and I might bump them. Like when I'm building boards, I'm stenciling here, and I'm building here, and I've got parts here, and I'm reflowing here. Like while things are reflowing, stenciling and building. Like I've always got 2 or 3 things happening at once. So leaving hot boards out that I could potentially knock or something is just, yeah, not something I want to do. And I've just always put my boards on a heatsink afterwards. Like, there's no reason to not cool the parts down properly, like, and quickly. And I want to test them as soon as possible. So, yeah, that's why. Anyway, so one of the screens was faulty. So I tried my best to get the screen off. This is the faulty one. And almost got it off and out, right? You can see here it was almost out. Oops. And at the last second, I was being so careful. The last second, I ran the iron across the headers and melted the headers. And I thought, that's it. Binning it. I might cut the screen off at some point and save the parts underneath. I don't know. I was so annoyed that there was a faulty board, right? That I went and opened up every single board out of the packet, built a test system for it, and pre-tested every screen, sorry. I've tested every screen, and guess what? It was the only faulty screen out of 60 screens. The only one. Can you believe it? It's just bad luck. Keep that one for yourself for testing and playing. Well, I can't because the screen's faulty. So what's the point? I can't see properly on the screen because it's not showing all the lines. And I've already got mine. I've got my other I've already got one that I use for my testing and stuff. Anyway, so I spent about an hour and a half testing every single screen and every pixel on every screen to make sure they're fine. And it was the only faulty one out of 60 screens. You know how frustrating that is? That was super frustrating. Now I can't close the box. Whatever. So I want to at least see if this jig works. Redacted shipping box. Oh, did I have my address on it? Oh, it was already redacted. Okay, that's good. Hey Greg, I might try that room temperature stable quick chip paste. Where did you get yours? Seems to be direct from quick chip. That's cheap. Mine was more expensive than that from DigiKey. But obviously I paid got free shipping because my order was high enough. This is the T4. You're looking at the T4 or the T3? They got T3 that's also stable, that's much cheaper. This is the T4. This was not the paste I just used on here though. They're both low temp, but I don't use T4 on here because there's no point. It's not fine pitch. I keep my T4 for the fine pitch. So I do my tiny picos with this. And it's amazing. But this was like $60. No, $47 I think this was. So yeah, DigiKey is where I generally get my quick chip from. Didn't even know you could buy it direct. Yes, the T4. Let me have a look. New window. So you can actually buy directly from them, can you? Send it by US mail. Actually, that's interesting. You can, because it's thermally stable. You can send it by normal mail. It doesn't matter. $21. Wow. So where did they have? Where's the URL? Is there a link to get back to this? I want to see if they got bigger ones. There's no back. There's no. Oh, wow. Oh, here we go. Right. Sold. Post. No fridge. T4, 250 grams, $85, 85 US. And what's this one? Thermally stable T4, thermally stable T4. Why is that cheaper? Oh, it's not low temp, probably. No, hang on. Yeah, it's medium temp. Interesting. I might buy... God, the low temp's expensive. Yeah, I might... FedEx overnight, $16. Which one's leaded? Oh, is that other one leaded? I didn't look. Semi-stable paste. Right, okay. Cool. I didn't know I could buy directly from them. I will maybe do that in the future. Although, as I said, like if I'm buying from DigiKey and I'm getting free shipping, then I might as well do that. Yeah, I wasn't reading the spec. I was just checking the T4. Cool. Yeah, the T4 is great. Like, but it's, if you're not doing fine pitch, don't pay for the T4. Like my T3 is perfectly fine. I've been using that. Like I've built stacks of tiny picos and stuff with the T3. I'm just running low. Like I'm almost out of the T3, and so I thought before I went and bought a whole, 250 gram jar of T3 again, I thought I'd try the T4 just to see how good it is, and it's great. But I'd never considered doing the thermally stable before. Like you pay a lot more for it. You can get this same T4, this formula, but all the non-thermally stable that have to go in the fridge, and it's cheaper, right? If you don't mind putting in the fridge, it's fine. Of a reel of Felder Lotnik Isocore clear solder. Wow, where'd you get that from? So is it a multi-core, or is it just a like what? It's clear, like clear solder. Did you have a link to that? So I have some interesting solder. I've got a video coming out, and I've got some interesting stuff on there that Julian, you might be interested in actually. Oh, maybe not. We'll see. We'll see. It's you might have to wait for the video. Yeah, you're gonna have to wait for the video. No. I'll no, I'll show you. I'm gonna show you. Julian is still here? I'll only show you if Julian's still here. The master of hand soldering. Not that anyone else isn't important. RS. Oh, right, that's the RS. So is this the one, Greg, that James linked to? Hey Tony, good morning. The problem with that is the 227 degrees. But so what's so good about this? Just curious. $217. Okay. So I'll show you what I was playing around with the other day. And I've only used it a couple of times, but I'm going to keep using it for now. So check this out. This is from a company called Zhufeng. And this is lead-free solder that's 138 degrees. So it is SN42 BI57 AG1. It is my low temp solder paste in solder wire, lead free. Use welding rods for surface mounts. Okay. So, what's interesting is it's really rigid. Like you can break it. Here's a bit that I broke off already by accident. Like it's brittle. See that? But it is 138. It melts at 138 degrees. It's just like using the low temp solder paste. How crazy is that? So I've got a video coming up about this, and I just broke some more off. So yeah, the fact that it's brittle is not great. But you know, I need to stop bending it. And the solder paste I used today for my RTC boards was some of their low temp solder paste. I wasn't going to reveal it until my video, so I got a video coming out about it. Attracted to it, crystal clear flux residues, no flux splatters, and the soldered joints show the shininess known from the lead containing elements. Right, crystal clear flux, but there's still flux to clean, right? The issue is, so this has got crystal clear flux on it. Well, these have crystal clear flux, but on black boards you can still see it. You see it because it's shiny. So these still need to be cleaned. So even if I went for a crystal clear flux, they're still going to need a cleaning process. So it doesn't really solve anything for me. Although it does look interesting. Must be a place that decided not to study chem or genetic engineering. Okay, so I want to see if this even works. So I've got I'm not going to solder one now because I need to put the headers on first. But I want to see if this lines up because I only printed this overnight, so I haven't even had a chance yet to see how it goes. And then I'm going to end the stream, I think. So I've got my little standoffs that I made. Got to get the right end in. So I put the standoffs in. Wrong end. And then I stick the screen in. And that's how it goes. So, as you can see, the screen sits just inside between those two walls at the right height. And there's no play on the pins. So if I was to get some blue tack, this might not be a good test. But if I was to get some blue tack and hold this here, so the screen doesn't move, do we have a straight screen? We have a straight screen, look at that. That is cool. Okay, the jig works. My work here is done. And it's flat. Okay, I'm very happy with that. No, it's not a case. It's a soldering jig to solder the screen on straight. Because the screen, it's got a lot of play, right? And there's nothing worse than getting the screen and it looks like that. Can you imagine if I shipped that? And it's really hard to keep straight. Really, really hard. Like even if I was to do this from this side, it's still really, like it still moves. So I built a jig to keep it straight. Okay, it works. Good. Because it was my second revision. My first one, the screen didn't fit inside properly. I got my measurements slightly out. Because I'm a hack, Colin. Because I'm a hack. Okay, well, the stream has gone over 2 hours. Thanks, James. It's a really simple thing. Like, it's, you know, there's no rocket science here. But, you know, I've got a 3D printer. Might as well utilize it to make my life easier, especially when I've got, I don't know, 50 or 100 of these to make. I want to make sure that I'm not messing about trying to get the screen straight. Double-sided tape mounted display. Double-sided tape. What do you mean double-sided tape mounted display? I don't understand. Do you want me to stick it on with double-sided tape? No, I don't want to stick with double-sided tape. Okay, well, I didn't even finish my drink today, and it is cold. Boo-hoo. Speaking of rocket science, I'm not opening... What is that link? I'm not opening that link now. I have a wiring form printing right now. Cool. Yeah, look, it's just... You know what? Often it takes more time just to sit in Fusion or whatever else and design the thing. But once you've got it, it's like you question why you didn't do it earlier. So... What was that rocket science link? Electron Ash? I'm going to get some blue tack, take some pink tack. Well, it's still called blue tack. So, just to be clear, I don't know about the rest of the world, but it's still called blue tack, just blue tack colour. The brand is called blue tack. God, I thought I had some blue tack stuck there. So, oops. Yeah. So, different colours, but it's still blue tack. Post-stream comedy. Oh, okay. Post-stream comedy. I thought I was the comedy act. Thanks, Andy. It has been a fun stream. That was pretty... I'm glad I got through that. I was hoping to make a couple of panels or something, but 20 of those is the same as doing 8 or something else, I guess. So, seems like you paid attention on every detail. Hey, mate. How are you? On every detail about what? Sorry, was that... Did I miss... Was that in context of something else? I don't know. Did I miss anything on the chat? No, I'm risking my blue wrench being revoked. No, not being... Well, I don't know what you posted. I didn't look. People knocking over gas cylinders. Okay. Did I get myself an ultrasonic cleaner for lots of things and PCB cleaning as well? Awesome. Which one did you get? God, you're stocking up on all your stuff, Greg. I'm glad I've got my cleaner. Level screen, standoffs. Well, the standoffs are kind of important because the screen has to sit high. Oh, sorry, you can't even see that. So the reason, the standoffs are important because the screen has to sit higher because of the speaker underneath. So I can't just do the tape trick that I did before. So that's why I printed the standoffs on the side. And they work really well. So, yeah. But keeping the screen straight, like even this one, that is slightly... Oh no, that's probably shifted because I was trying to get it off. So annoyed. So annoyed. I melted that. Oh well. I'm doing a little jig, but it's not helping my projects. You gotta do it faster, Graham. Or do it on camera. That'll help your projects. Thanks, Agim. So, the campaign is... The plan is... It's launching this week. Oh, Alan's back. Hey, Charles. Cool. Welcome, and I'm glad you found me from Julian as well. Thanks, Julian. Nice, Greg. I will. I'll go check out what that is. Although I've got mine. Mine doesn't have a heater though. It'd be nice if it had a heater. Electron Ash, stop posting videos. Stop it. Yes. So I got official word back yesterday, my time, because you remember they're in America, so they're a day behind. It's kind of frustrating. That yes, everything's ready to go, and we are attempting to launch this week. I don't know what day yet. Maybe my Thursday or Friday, so US Wednesday or Thursday, maybe. So it could just be a day or two. I don't know. But yes, everything's ready to go, and I want the campaign live already. Ugh. I just need the campaign. It's like it's been hanging around like a bad smell, this whole journey, but everything's ready to go, because auto direct rather than page. No, you can't, not until after the campaign. Once the campaign is finished and I've shipped everything to backers, then I can sell it elsewhere. But until then, the only place to get them from is via the campaign. That's the conditions of using crowd supply. So, sorry, John. Once the crowd supply campaign is over, I'll be selling them via Tindy as well. So there's still going to be shipping. I mean, the shipping for Europe will be a little bit cheaper if I do via Tindy, but the shipping from the US will probably be more expensive via Tindy, because crowd supply shipping rates in the US is super expensive. Super cheap. Sorry, super cheap, not expensive. Just over the Tasman, yeah. So, and then I need to decide on Tindy if I'm going to be shipping just with mail or not. Like, I'm not sure I like the idea of shipping Tiny Picos out with untracked mail, but I'll let people make that choice. No, I don't know if I'll let people make that choice. I think that the double shipping, you'll be best just to ship crowd supply in one lot. Yeah, I think so too, but it depends on the size of the campaign. My expectations are that the numbers are going to be low. Like, you know, I might do like a few hundred Tiny Picos, I think, maybe. So if that's the case, then shipping them all in one hit's fine. But if I do more than that, then I might have to do them in multiple shipments anyway, because I don't want people waiting. The other thing is it's going to have a low target. Like, I think it's sitting it to $100. Like, I don't need... So normally with crowdfunding, you set your target to give you enough money to make what you need to make so you can ship it, right? But I don't need to. Like, it's ready to go. So I don't need to set a high target to reach before before the campaign's successful. So I'm just setting it to $100. So technically, after I reach $100, if you've backed it, crowd supply will start billing, and technically, if they have stock, they can start shipping. Yeah, expectation low, lol, next 10 times oversubscribed. There's no way I'm going to do 1,000 or 2,000. It's not going to happen, I don't think. I'm really doubtful. Yeah, that would leave me an absolute nervous wreck. I know that would sound like it's a really good thing, but for me that would be a terrible result. It would take my stress and anxiety levels through the roof, and all of my plans will get chucked in the bin, and I'm going to have to rethink everything. So yeah, part of me is hoping that's not going to happen. But it's been... it wasn't a challenge. I wasn't putting the challenge out. That wasn't a challenge. It's been a great experience. The whole thing. I went through a bit of a lull during the Tiny Pico journey, where I kind of stopped working on it for a while and moved on to other stuff. And so, I wish I could have had it out a few months ago, but it is what it is. So I felt like it's taken a long time to get to this point, but it's been a great journey. I've learnt a lot, and I'm super proud of what I've done. And I know the shields delayed me a lot, but I think the shields are really cool, and I really enjoyed making them. And I think they had some value. And then because I made some shields, other people are making shields now. I mean, Tony here, he's made a shield, and BitLooney might have seen his video he released the other day. His using Easy EDA video. He showcased the VGA board for Tiny Pico, and some other people are making shields. So I think by me starting to make shields, it's encouraged other people to make some shields, and so it's going to build the ecosystem around the Tiny Pico, which is great. What's the break-even quantity in China assembly? It's probably 500 boards in China, but at 500 boards, it becomes a testing nightmare. Anything above 500 boards, I don't know how I'm going to solve testing on the line. I'm going to have to provide a whole bunch of test jigs, which is going to cost me probably a couple of $1,000 to build and test and make them. And I think I mentioned before, I don't think my test jig is adequate for a production line. It's 100% reliable if I slow it down, but if I get it running really fast, so it can work, like 30, 40 seconds to work on a production line, you get a lot of false negatives where it'll come up saying, oh, the board, it can't find the serial chip, or it failed flashing. But if I slow that down and make it take like 50 seconds to do every board, I get 100% pass rate on all my boards. But I can't do 50 seconds or a minute for production line for testing. I'm going to have to provide them twice as many test jigs. So that's my stress, is like if I end up doing quantities I need to go to China for, testing those quantities is going to be a nightmare. And I'll end up, any money I would have saved by hitting that 500 to 1,000 barrier of pricing, I'm going to lose that just in test jigs and having to ship test jigs over there. Oh, HMX has got a Tiny Pico shield sitting at EDA waiting to be routed. Really? Cool. What shield are you making? I would love to know. James says, is the Tiny Pico going to be 5 volt tolerant on its inputs? No. All of the ESP stuff is 3.3 volt logic. If that's what you're talking about, on the I/O, it's all 3.3 volt, not 5 volt. No. 5 volt should be killed off when it comes to logic. So one of the ideas I've got is actually to make a level shifting shield, so you can just plug it on and have 5 volt logic on all of your I/O if you want to. But I've got a whole lot of ideas for shields, but I'm going to look at doing those after the campaign, and I'll put them on Tindy and stuff. Paul says, how many would you like the interest to be? Obviously I want to sell as many as I can, but under 300 boards I can build myself. Under 500 boards I'm going to need a pick and place machine. So timing is going to be a problem. And over 500 boards, probably 500 to 700 I could do myself on a pick and place machine if I had one, which I don't, right? But above 500 is where, technically China becomes sort of viable. At 2,000, I could actually make some money on the boards. So under 2,000, I'll be honest with you guys, under 2,000 boards, I'm making virtually nothing. Like if I put my time into it, I'm losing $20 a board if you look at my time. And if I don't look at my time, I'm only making like $5 a board maximum. $5 a board, not including tax. So 30% tax, I'm making like $3 a board, right? It's not worth it. This whole campaign, I'm not doing it for the financials. You understand that, right? But at the 2,000 mark, I get my first significant price drop on the Tiny Picos, on the Pico D4s. So at 2,000 boards, I can probably make $7 a board. After tax, $5 a board, right? But I'm not going to do 2,000. It's not going to happen. Have you put the specs online somewhere for people wanting to make shields? It'll be when the campaign goes live. Everything's going to be open source. All the hardware gets released open source when the campaign goes live. All my shields will be there. My Tiny Pico will be there, and an empty shield will be there. It's all in Eagle. Sorry, if you use KiCad, you can convert it yourself. I tried looking at converting all of my stuff to KiCad to include as well, but I am not confident that what I'm going to release is actually going to work. I don't use KiCad. I don't know how to make a passable board in KiCad. So if other people want to do that, they can. And if they want to give me the files back that I can host as well on the GitHub repository so other people can use the KiCad ones, that's great. So you will be able to... that's okay, John. Your shield doesn't have to be for Tiny Pico. Interface to my magnetic stir plate and DIY overhead stirrer. Cool. Sounds good. Need to farm out some assembly to a team of fellow makers. Crowd built. I don't have enough fellow makers locally that can do the Tiny Pico anyway. The shields aren't a problem because they're limited run, right? I'm only going to be releasing, so there'll be like a Tiny Pico pack with the play shield. There's only going to be 50 of them. Once they're gone, that's it for the campaign. And the same with the shield packs. There's only going to be 50 shield packs. So once they're gone, that's it. So I know how many shields I need to make, which is why I'm trying to make them in advance. And the Tiny Picos are things that I can't really hand out to other people to make because they're quite difficult to make. But 5V is supposed to be much better. 5V I/O is supposed to be much better. I don't know. So did, for instance, BitLooney get a Tiny Pico sent for the campaign? Yes, BitLooney got a sample of Tiny Pico, so did a couple of other people. Because they had projects they wanted to do something with that I wanted to have launch when the campaign launches. So expect to see something from, well, maybe another video from Looney and one or two videos from some other people, maybe, about that. And I have some of their stuff here that I could also do videos for. Hey, Ed! So that was kind of important to have those out there. But other than that, the only other people who've got Tiny Picos are people that, I need for reviewing for the campaign. I love Eagle. I'm not afraid to say it. I get KiCad's free, and people don't like that Eagle's not, but I like Eagle. I'm comfortable in Eagle. I'm going to keep using Eagle. Okay, wow, now I'm waffling on a bit. So, yes, the campaign. There will be an announcement when the campaign's live. Don't you worry. You'll hear me shouting it from the roof. I will release an update, like a video about it. It'll just be a quick thing. KiCad is getting better. Yes, it's still pretty wonky on the Mac for me. I don't know why. Often when I'm zooming in and out in the PCB layout view, the jitters around and moves and stuff. I don't know what that is. They've almost got their auto netlist system working, and when they have that working, maybe I might look at KiCad again as well as Eagle. But while I have to manually do their netlist stuff, I'm not touching it. So this is the green room, the down-to-earth chat time. Yes. So yeah. So to answer that question again about what would I like the interest to be, Paul, look, obviously I want to sell as many as I can, but it's not for financial reasons. Right? It's like, yeah, there's no money in hardware at these levels. You need to be doing 10,000 units or something to get enough price breaks on everything to actually make some money at the $20 price point. Yeah. It's not about the money. I just want to have a lot of people with Tiny Picos in their hands. That's all. Worth looking at some of the KiCon videos on YouTube. Yeah, I've watched some. KiCad's definitely getting better. Like, don't get me wrong. I think it's great, and I am following its development, and I'm following other people that use it, and I'm not anti it in any way. I've got the latest version installed on my Mac. I use their Gerber viewer all the time, which is great. I'm just not ready to move over to it at all. I like Eagle. I'm comfortable with Eagle, and I've got a lot of assets in Eagle, and I like the way Eagle works. And I've built a lot of libraries in Eagle for myself and stuff. So there. We don't do this for the money. Free R&D, $1 an hour for your fulfillment labor. I'm earning less than $1 an hour. I'm earning backwards. Like, it's, yeah. And even with a pick and place machine, if I look at the time involved, the time I still need to invest manually on that, plus the cost of that, like, I'm still going to, it's in no way is it a money-making venture, and I'm okay with that. Like, it was never meant to be. And maybe over the long, maybe over a year, after the campaign, and maybe people buying stuff on Tindy and other, more shields happening and other people using them, maybe, overall, I might end up having made a couple of $1,000s, maybe, but, I can't really see that happening. I think at that point, I'll already be moving on to something bigger and better, and other people will already be moving on, and there'll be other things out there. I mean, Espressif's new chips coming out soon. Soonish. It's still, who knows, months and months and months away. But it's, it's not as powerful as Tiny Pico, as the Pico D4. It's, it sits in between the ESP8266 and the ESP32. So it's a less featured in some ways and more features in another way, whatever. Maybe I've got some plans to do something with that. So the Tiny Pico is not my last and only project, obviously. Which would be the only reason I'd consider buying a pick and place machine. Because, in terms of financial investment, it doesn't make any sense on Tiny Pico. Maybe for my mental stability it does. But going forward, once I've got one, I can then leverage that for other things. Quick chip paste is pretty good. It's pretty good, and it's got a long life. Like my T3 stuff is a year past its due date, and it's still wet and it's still fully usable. You can see now that you know, I get little solder balls sometimes with it. Like it's not as good as it was when it was first bought, but for most things, it's 100% usable. So yeah, quick chip stuff's good. Okay, that's it. I've waffled enough. Hopefully, the next time you hear from me, the campaign will be launched, and it won't be next Wednesday. It'll be before that. Just consider what you're doing is building foundations for what comes next. Sure, but for me, what comes next is running out of money and getting a job. So that's what's next for me, probably. And Tiny Pico's not going to solve that, so that's okay. But yes, building a foundation, absolutely. If I had a pick and place machine, I'd be much more willing to maybe look into building other things as well. So, cool. Anyway, that's it. Thank you all for watching. It's been a fun stream. Well, I think it's been a fun stream. But once again, I've lost my... Where is my page to shut this thing down? Always, I can never find it. Ooh, 82 peak concurrent. Hey, I'm going to ask this time, can everyone like the video? I had a dislike. 3 minutes after posting my link to the video, I had a dislike. That was terrible. Can everyone like? Please. Thanks. And, woo, Stephen's still here. Yay! Thank you all. It's been great chatting. And, Stephen, thanks for making me do this. It was a nice challenge to do on this stream. I'm glad I did it. Hope they all work. Catch you all next time. 1 or 2 days, I hope. Fingers crossed. Woohoo! Bye. Where's the button?